Welcome back, fellow gamers. Today I want to talk to you about Star Wars Battlefront 2. Now, I'm not going to retread all the stuff that's already been said. I'll touch over it. But I just want to talk about the game at large and some of the big problems with this game, why you need to avoid the game, and why we need to come together to stop shit like this from happening. So, this game was released an early access for, whatever EA's stuff is. People got it a few days early. The game comes out this week, and everybody that's been playing it, or at least like 95% of the people, have had a problem with the way the game is designed. So the way it was at launch, or at the early launch, was it took about 40 hours to unlock a character like Darth Vader or Luke Skywalker. And that's not 40 hours of gameplay where you unlock everything and then you get finally like Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker. No. 40 hours for just either, not and, either, so one of the two, Skywalker or Vader. And that means that you got to play with whatever is unlocked. Whatever's just not there, you just gotta deal with. You gotta use the regular stuff. Can't spend any of your credits, get other things, and then hope that you can get this just like that in 40 hours. No. Well, there was a huge backlash on Reddit, on Twitter, and probably a few other places, but Reddit was definitely one of the most well-known. Simply because their reply to somebody complaining about, hey, I just purchased this game for like $60 and now I have to spend all this time. I don't have 40 hours of gameplay, not like 40 hours work week, 40 hours of actual in-game play to unlock this. And they gave this stupid corporate answer, and it literally was stupid, saying how the idea behind it being so high is that it's to give the player a sense of accomplishment. I'll tell you what a sense of accomplishment is going to work, getting paid for a job well done, and then going home and relaxing. That's how you see fit. If that happens to be playing a video game, thanks for your sense of accomplishment. I don't need it. What I do need is to get a full game and not have to dick around for 40 extra hours without having to play as the character I bought the game for. Well, they went ahead and reduced the cost of 75% of what it was. So sorry, to 25%. So they reduced it by 75%, which, okay, cool. But let's not think for a second that they did this out of the goodness of their heart. EA got caught trying to milk the player base and milk fans of the franchise. They didn't say, oh, well, because we care so much. Here's their little reply. I'll save you the time. Corporate bullshit, corporate bullshit, corporate bullshit. What they did try to do is they tried to take advantage of the fact that Star Wars has a die-hard fan base, and they thought they could get players to pay above and beyond what the game costs to unlock these characters quicker. Because let's face it, nobody there is like, oh, yeah. The people will happily grind out 40 hours to play as Vader and Skywalker, let alone any other characters they want to unlock on the way, because they'll have to wait. It'll be even longer. Now, this was calculated. They didn't magically throw darts everywhere and land on these random values. They knew that two of the most iconic characters were going to cost the most. They knew that they thought they knew, at least, that they could get away with a certain amount of time versus money. So this comes into a randomized gambling like system where you either start buying crates and getting those credits, or just buy the characters outright by spending more money and getting that in-game currency. So they got caught. People made their voices heard. Their reply was the most downvoted post on Reddit in the history of Reddit. Let that sink in about how many subreddits are filled with hate, right? I go to Reddit all the time, and I see it firsthand. There's a lot of hate that goes on Reddit. There is some real good stuff on Reddit. So I'm not going to paint all with the bad picture. But anyways, all this to say that they are now backpedaling because they see that they are in hot water, that they've been caught. People are canceling their pre-orders. And you know what I got to say to that? Keep doing it. Keep canceling your pre-orders, because that is the way that these companies will learn that we can't be taken advantage of any longer. This here is the worst scenario. There are other games that do very similar things. Most of the time you find this kind of outright ridiculousness in mobile games. To make this jump into a full-fledged game that people pay $60 to $100 for is absolutely ridiculous. Ridiculous on every front. We can't stand by and say, well, if it doesn't affect you, don't buy it. Stop complaining. That's an argument that's been around since DLC first dropped, like in Halo 2. When people started having a problem with DLC, people were voicing it. People were telling others to shut up and mind their own business. They were happy spending the money not to rain on their parade. Well, as time evolves, companies try to get away with more and more and more. I think now it's about time that we say, okay, this has gone on long enough. Make good games. Put your stuff 100% in the game. If you want to have like aesthetics, like different costumes, stuff like they do in Overwatch, I think that's the limit that we should really be striving for here. Overwatch is a highly successful game. They release free maps, free characters, extra game modes for free. You can pay to get these extra loot boxes and get some costumes, some emotes, taglines, whatever. But you don't see anything else like that in Overwatch. Or even you got Rainbow Six Siege, which has a progression system where you have to unlock your characters, but the amount of renown that you get is not as ridiculous as this. And I'm going to touch on non-renown, on in-game currency in Star Wars in just a second. Actually, you know what? I want to touch on it now. We're going to touch on it now. So, funny enough, the character unlock isn't even the worst thing in this game. It is not. If you think that is, I'm about to blow your mind. I'm about to blow your mind. What happens here is, if you have all the characters unlocked, if you've got everybody unlocked, yeah, I just got small, okay? I just miniaturized myself. I'm like in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. All right, but I'm a kid. On Reddit. I told you, there's a lot of good stuff on Reddit. Reddit user, the Kratos, who's been gilded 3 times. Way to go, people who gilded him. I'm going to have a link to this thread in the description below. But essentially, he's done the math on what it would take to unlock or to get all of the top modifiers for your characters. If you wanted all the best stuff for all your characters, this is what you'd have to spend in time and money, or both combination. So if you hadn't noticed, or if you hadn't heard, you can get in your loot crate some modifiers. So these will actually make a difference to how you play the game, how strong your character is, and just things that you can equip to your character. So there are 4 different tiers, Epic being the most sought after, the strongest, and you can only get those through paid stuff. So you can't even get those by grinding. Keep that in mind. So I'm gonna go through a high level here. I'm just gonna pump this up a few times here. Maybe you'll be able to see. Who knows? We got a nice little ad here. So he's assuming that you have all the characters on. So you've done all the grinding to get your characters, and then you start off pretty much with 0. You've gotten all your level 3 cards. So you have to get all level 3. So from level 3 to go to level 4, this is how much it's going to take. You have to have all your level 3. So let alone the fact of the time it's going to take you to accumulate those level 3s. We're not going to go through everything here. Like, we're going to skim through it. But he goes, players earn credits at a rate of 1,100 credits per hour. Loot crates required are rounded up. All totals for gameplay hours are rounded to the nearest whole number. All right? So troopers, there are 17 cards for each of the 4 base troopers. This totals to 68 cards. It requires 32,640 crafted parts. This will require opening 653 loot crates. That actually will take 950 hours of gameplay to do. So 950 hours of in-game play to get everything for your regular troopers. We'll scroll down here. We'll scroll down. You know, want to know why? Because it's a lot of the same. It's a lot of the same. 260 loot crates to open for your starfighters, which is 378 hours. Your heroes, the things that you really want to play with, 14 different heroes on foot with 9 cards and 9 starfighter heroes. That requires, get this, 1,988 loot crates. You get to play for 2,892 hours. Wow! If you want it all, you got to play 4,528 hours. You don't have that kind of time. This game's not going to be live that long. What if you just wanted to buy the stuff and decimate the competition, get rid of all the peasants who can't afford the game to begin with, got some sort of trade-in value for their other games, trade in this game. They don't have extra disposable income, so they're going to grind it. You're going to go ahead and buy the game and buy everything. It's going to cost you, if you were to buy only $100 crystal packs, $2,100. Wow, what a deal. What a deal. I bet you're going to spend that $2,100 and you're going to have a great time for all of 2 months that this game's going to be alive. Because they completely screwed this game up with this bullshit. Why game developers suddenly think that locking these extra abilities, extra guns, in the case of Call of Duty Infinite Warfare and stuff, behind these loot systems is beyond me. How they have not seen the data where people just drop off when this kind of stuff happens. I did it when Modern Warfare Remastered started introducing all these extra guns. I was like, get out of here. I'm done playing with your game. There are way too many games out there these days for me to actually sit by and grind when other people can just pay their way through. Not at this rate. Definitely not at this rate. Oh yeah. I gotta calm down. I gotta calm down here, guys. Now, the community needs to stay together. I mentioned this. We need to stop buying these games. I'm stopping flat out from buying EA at this point. I know they've got a good title coming out in 2018 or 2019. I'm not buying it because they can go to hell. They honestly, their business model can go to hell. The people that are working there that are honest people working on a game, I feel bad for those people because they're getting the raw end of the deal. But I'm going to tell you something. When I say we as a gaming community need to stick together, I'm not just talking about me and you, the average gamers. I'm talking about the big-time streamers. These guys need to stop streaming games like this. They need to stop promoting crappy games. And I hear it all the time from some of the streamers. Oh, well, it's my job. I have to. There are a ton of games. And I want to listen to a clip of Boogie. Now, I'll say everything I have to say after the clip.
I ran into him and I punched him in the face. Yay. He did it in Return to the Jedi. I don't remember that part.
I remember.
Hank Swallow. More credits available in 3 hours. More credits available in 3 hours. We're sorry. You were enjoying arcade mode too much, so we have to stop giving you prizes. I'm sorry. Were you enjoying arcade mode? Because...
That's enough. You get the point. Boogie is clearly upset at the situation. He's even voiced his concern on Twitter about, how this is wrong and yada, yada, yada. And before I go any further, I really enjoy Boogie's content. I can tell he's a genuinely nice person. So what I'm about to say isn't hate or anything like that. But Boogie, what the hell are you doing playing this game? You know what the community's opinion on this. Why are you giving this company free advertisement? There are people on your stream that are looking at you play the game. Maybe they tune out right before that happens. Like, hey, Boogie was having a really good time. Maybe I should go pick up that game. I saw the streamer playing it. Big time streamers like Boogie and all those on either YouTube Gaming, Twitch, or Mixer, guys got to stop, slow your roll, play a different game. Stop trying to, you know, I understand if you have a contractual obligation that's already set in stone, you have to play the game. You have to play the game. I understand that. But from your reaction, I'm pretty sure that you didn't have a contractual obligation to play this game. You want to get some Star Wars in. I understand that. I feel you. I want to get some Star Wars in too. But you know what? If we just keep buying the game, playing the game, and then promoting the game by streaming it, who are you helping? Maybe you're helping yourself, because that's the goal, right? You're trying to build an audience, build a channel. But you're hurting the gaming industry because you're telling developers that this type of behavior is okay. And I'm singling out Boogie, but it's not just you. And it's not any hate towards you. But we need to stop endorsing this. It's an endorsement. When you stream a game, most of the time it's an endorsement because you're having fun, you're showing it off. We got to stop that. We got to stop that. You can't play the game, complain about it, and then keep playing it. There's one thing to play it, complain about it, stop playing it because you did your research. Now you got to stop playing it. It's like Dr. Disrespect. All right, now Derek, calm down. when he kept playing King of the Kill, and he'd start, you know, he stopped uninstalling it, or sorry, he continued uninstalling the game, but then would start playing it again. Yeah, you gotta fill your niche, right? You gotta grow your audience. But then he stopped playing the game. He went on to Battlegrounds, and now Battlegrounds, he's gone on to Fortnite. He does still play Battlegrounds, but you know what I'm saying? Like he's not going to continue bashing his head against the wall. So streamers have got to stop doing this. Like No Man's Sky, everybody jumped on to No Man's Sky. Everybody was hopping up and down on No Man's Sky. How many people do you think were tricked at the beginning? People watching other streamers play No Man's Sky. People are canceling pre-orders. People are canceling pre-orders in droves. I fully support that. You voting with your wallet is the only thing that game companies will understand. And we got to shut up the corporate apologists here. All the people that are going to continue to say, well, I want to pay for it. I don't want to waste all this time. So I'm gonna buy my way through the game. I work 40 hours a week, so I don't have time to spend on the game. Well, that's cool if 3% of the population want to go ahead and buy it. You stick around like everybody else and play the game. The models to work with, as I mentioned, is Overwatch and Rainbow Six Siege. I get a lot of flack for playing Rainbow Six Siege as much as I do. Even though Ubisoft right now does not want to talk to me. Now, I'm not a big streamer by any stretch of the imagination, but I had some critical comments to make about Ubisoft during Operation Health. I stopped streaming it until they fixed the game. They fixed the game, I started streaming it again. But that's what needs to go down. That's what needs to go down. And you look at EA. When's the last time they've actually had a good launch of anything? When's the last time they had a good launch? They had a mediocre launch of Battlefield 1. The game's okay. Game is okay. I think it's more of a situation where people were just thirsting for some boots-on-the-ground gameplay, and they got it through Battlefield 1. I think that if you had a boots-on-the-ground Call of Duty, you wouldn't have seen Battlefield 1 do nearly as good. Now, that's not a slight at any of the Battlefield elitists or the people who love the series. I get you. But you gotta admit, Battlefield 1 was a shit show. Mass Effect, whew. First of all, it all went downhill at the end of Mass Effect 3. I didn't think they could screw up Mass Effect any more than they did with Andromeda. But here we are. The last good release last good game they released was Titanfall 2, but they botched that release because, hey, they had to promote Battlefield 1. So they had to launch them like a week apart. They buried Titanfall. They buried it. Just so they could prop up Battlefield 1. They don't know what they're doing. I feel bad for the people at whatever it is for Titanfall 2. I know they recently got bought out, so that's going to be a lot of fun when Titanfall 3 comes around. Last thing I guess I want to touch on is I don't know how the heck Disney is on this slide. I gotta think. I gotta think that they're not too happy with the backlash I've worked with Disney. When I used to work, I worked for one of the largest entertainment companies in Canada. I did social media marketing. And I got to tell you, when Star Wars The Force Unleashed was being released, we tried just advertising. We were authorized, like we had our contacts at Disney. They had asked us to advertise the movie, but we couldn't do anything. They were so strict. They were so strict with their IP, their property, which is their right. But holy cow, I don't understand how this relationship between EA and Disney will evolve from this if this game continues to tank. And if we can really make it happen where we can send a message, I would love nothing more than for us to get a good Star Wars game again. It's been a long time. But maybe it's not EA that does it. Maybe EA needs to take the fall and Disney goes and gives it to somebody else who will run with it, who will do a good job with it. We need to prop up these good game companies. So we've got Wolfenstein 2 that just released. I haven't had a chance to play it. There's so many good games. So why are we going to stick around and play a game that's designed to exploit our fanaticness of a story when there are so many other good games out there? The choices that are present today should lead to better games, not these crappy situations that go down. Microsoft's been issuing refunds. Microsoft has been issuing all kinds of refunds. And they've also been reissuing the chargebacks for microtransactions. This is an amazing precedent that is being set by Microsoft. Get those microtransactions clawed back out of the pockets of EA. If you have pre-ordered and you've purchased some microtransaction packages or whatever, you should seriously give this a thought right here. Hopefully, as I mentioned, we can send that message. This has got to stop. We cannot let the gaming companies take advantage of us any longer. Vote with your wallet. I know it sucks not playing a Star Wars game if you are a huge Star Wars fan. The game looks beautiful. But what would you rather? What would you rather? Play a game like this that's going to be around for a few months. EA makes all kinds of money. And then they do the same stuff, only worse. Because that's what's happening from Battlefield 1 to Battlefield 2. It's worse. And that game didn't last very long. Or would you rather not play your Star Wars game right now and wait and get an awesome Star Wars game in 2-3 years from now? The 2-3 year option is what I'm voting for. Let me know what you think about this in the comments below. I would love to hear it. Please keep it civil. Please no death threats to EA. It dilutes the message that we're trying to get across. EA is really good at painting narratives, similar to what they did with, not EA, but similar to what the people that were running the Ghostbusters movie did with Ghostbusters. They turned into a sexism thing when it was just, that wasn't the case. EA's done this before with homophobia. They've turned into saying that people just hated homophobia. That's not further from the truth. People hate being ripped off and hate being delivered a game that doesn't fulfill the marketing. Until next time, good gaming.